You spend your days protecting everyone else's well-being, mediating tension, absorbing emotion, and keeping culture intact. But who protects you? Today, we'll talk about HR fatigue, imposter syndrome, and the quiet courage it takes to keep caring, even when the system seems to have stopped caring for you. Welcome to Reimagining HR with Trina Sunday, the rule-breaking podcast where we challenge our thinking and our current people practices. This podcast is for time-poor HR teams and business leaders who are feeling the burn, lacking laughs, and not feeling the love. I'm Trina, your host, and I'm here to cut through the BS, explore different ways of thinking, and create high-impact HR functions. Because happier, healthier organisations are better for our people and our bottom line. So if you are keen to flip traditional HR on its head, hit the follow or subscribe button so you're the first to know when new episodes drop. I'm here to help and also to shake things up. So let's get started. Are you like so many HR professionals I've been speaking to who have fallen into quiet exhaustion as a result of being the heartbeat of their organisation? Somewhere along the way, HR became the organisational shock absorber. We carry the secrets, the stress, the expectations, and we do it with grace, or we try, because that's what professional looks like. But let's be honest, HR isn't superhuman. We're just really good at pretending we are. The research calls it people fatigue, or calls it lots of things actually, but a lot of research calls it people fatigue. You know, the emotional exhaustion that comes from caring for others while neglecting yourself. It's not just stress, it's trauma by accumulation. As trauma-informed leadership expert Katie Kurtz says, trauma is the body's response to being overwhelmed by stress. And HR, we're living in a constant state of overwhelm. We've become first responders in the modern workplace, supporting people through mental health crises, grief, restructures, toxic teams, cultural reckonings, often while facing the same uncertainty ourselves. And that's the paradox, right? We champion psychological safety for others while often operating without it ourselves. We tell leaders to show vulnerability, yet we mask our own fatigue behind a professional smile. We preach boundaries while working weekends to keep up. The truth is simple and confronting. You can't build safe workplaces if you don't feel safe yourself. So let's call it what it is, right? HR fatigue. It's not the kind of tiredness a long weekend fixes. It's that bone-deep depletion that comes from holding too much for too long. You're carrying other people's grief and frustration and fear while juggling the dual role of business guardian and human advocate. The fine line, remember that? And the moral distress is real. When the needs of the business clash with the needs of its people, HR becomes the friction point. We become the friction point. Add in resource constraints, the lean teams that are asked to do more with less, and it's no wonder HR is quietly burning out. You're seeing people leave HR right now because traditional HR isn't sustainable for them anymore. And then there's imposter syndrome, the quiet voice whispering, am I strategic enough? Do they even see the value that I bring? Well, let me tell you, if you've ever asked those questions, then you're not alone. You're the one helping everyone else feel seen, yet you might rarely get the same grace in return. And here's the reframe that I want you to hold. Feeling depleted doesn't make you weak. It proves that you care deeply, and caring, true courageous caring, is your competitive advantage. But care without boundaries, that's just plain martyrdom. And martyrdom has no place in modern HR. So how do we start building safety for ourselves? How do you start building safety for you? Not as a reward for surviving, but as a requirement for leading. And there's a few things that I've drawn from my work with brilliant HR thinkers and my coaching clients, some trauma experts and change makers who are doing this work every day. And one of them is the courageous check-in. I would really encourage you to do a courageous check-in every week. Like, ask yourself, what am I holding that isn't mine to hold? Where am I pretending to be fine? And who can I talk to safely about this? This isn't indulgence, it's maintenance. You can't pour from an empty cup. And HR's been refilling the kettle and it's boiling. It's boiling. And I think about check-ins and I think about this notion of courage. And I think about psychologists who have psych supervisors, right? They can emotionally unload, debrief, share some of their worries. We don't have that in HR. You also need to look at having boundaries with bravery. Like, when everything feels urgent, nothing truly is, right? You would have heard that before. Draw a small circle on a page. Inside the circle, write down what truly matters this week. Outside the circle, what's just noise dressed up as a priority? What are your most important actions? Put them in the middle of the circle for this week. But still go through the notions of writing down all that stuff and all that noise that's swirling around. Get it on the page, get it out. But boundaries aren't walls, right? Boundaries are fences with gates. And at the end of the day, you decide what and who gets through. You can do an ally audit to look at the people who are absolutely going to help you on this journey in HR. Allyship is everything. People that have your back, that know what you're going through, and they're invested in you. List the people who refill your energy, your mentors, peers, or friends who just get HR. And reach out to one every fortnight, like every 2 to 3 weeks. Reach out to one of those allies. It's not networking. It's kind of how you might regulate your nervous system. When 2 HR professionals share honestly, something shifts. My community is everything in my survival in this profession. And when I see 2 HR professionals really connecting over what they're going through, you see exhale instead of performance. You see what courage can regenerate when you've shared that burden with someone else who gets what it is that you're going through. And they can help you navigate next steps or just listen. But you can also look at structural safety, not just self-care. Like creating a culture of transparency and empathy and empowerment and all that good stuff. It has to be a constant in an organisation. It can't just be pulled out in times of stress. And we need to do that for ourselves. We need structural safety. That means advocating for systemic change. What does that mean? I think of things like HR mental health days, shared debriefs after crises, coaching supervision, and realistic workloads. Because sustainability isn't a personal virtue, right? It's an organisational design choice. And we need to reclaim some humanity in HR because the shift we need now is seismic, what feels seismic. And we're not here to serve the system. We're here to shape it. And shaping requires heart. It requires imperfection. I've got my hand up. I've got plenty of that. It requires leaders brave enough to say, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to listen. If HR is to lead the human first revolution, we need to start by healing our own. When HR feels safe, workplaces become more safe. When HR feels seen, others feel more seen and valued. And when HR leads with self-compassion, we model the courage that the whole organisation needs to do the same. This is the real work, not harder, but braver. It's not just policies, it's pulse. So this week, do one thing that makes you feel safe in our HR profession. Maybe it's saying no, maybe it's asking for help, maybe it's just taking a breath before you break. Those that know me or follow me would know that I care deeply about the HR profession. Well, not the profession, the entity, but the humans within it who are doing awesome work and showing up every blessed day, caring for others. So if this episode resonated with you, I see you. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. But please also share it with another HR professional that might need a reminder that they're not alone. You are not just the caretaker of culture. You are a part of it, and you deserve to be held by it too. Thanks for tuning in and leaning in to this week's episode as we look to reimagine how we show up for our people, organisations and community. Reach out to us via our website at reimaginehr.com.au with your HR horror stories or suggestions of people you'd love to hear from or topics you want to explore. It's all about people, purpose and impact, and we are here for all of it. Until next time, take care, team.